everyone, welcome back to the workshop. Artisan Pirate here, and in today's fun scroll saw project video, have another amazing design, partially designed by Steve Good. This is a design of his that I have dropped into the Lightburn software that is for laser engraving, and I modified it to suit my needs, and I hope Steve Good is cool with what I have done in today's design here. I've already got it printed out to its full size, prepped, and attached to our material with clear packing tape. Lightburn is such a powerful software that I have found uses for, not only with the laser, but also with designing and editing logos and designs like that. It's just a great software overall, and I highly recommend it to anyone who needs a software for their laser, but is also interested in modifying some designs if they see fit. What I done was took a screenshot of Steve Good's original file in the pattern section of his catalog. I dropped it into Lightburn, and I done a trace on it to get the design vectorized, and what I have come up with is this here. This says Artisan Pirate at the top with a man at the scroll saw. I figured this would be an appropriate project because this is also going to be the debut project of the Rikon Scroll Saw, the 22-inch variable speed one we unboxed, assembled, and done our first test cuts on. This is his first project video over here on the platform, and I thought this would be such an appropriate design. The original file that Steve Good offers has either a man or woman in the circle, and then at the top it would have scroll saw, and at the bottom it would say workshop. So scroll saw workshop for a male or female, to make like a kind of sign to represent what you do over on the scroll saw. What I done was took those words out in Lightburn and just added my name there at the top. We are going to be cutting out some 3/4 inch material, and this is the same panel that we cut the Man on Bicycle Silhouette project out of a few weeks ago. And since everything is pretty much prepped and ready to go, let's move the camera and drill all of our pilot holes so we can head over to the scroll saw and start scrolling. And before we formally get started with the project, I figured I would show you guys a few screenshots of how I modified the Steve Good design. Again, here is how the design was originally intended to be, and I took a screenshot and I imported it into the Lightburn laser software, and I traced it to turn it into a vector, and I removed the words and the outer ring, and then I added an additional ring around it, and this would make a cool design by itself. But then I used the fonts that are included in Lightburn and wrote out my name here, and then I curved them around to fit the circle that the piece is on, and then I used the weld feature to weld it together, and then I could export our design and print it. But that was how I modified it. And again, everything is prepped here, so now we are just taking the Seiko scroller's drill over here on the workbench and drilling out all of the pilot holes for internal cutting. And you will note that I have a backer board behind the scroll work to prevent blowout of the pilot holes on the reverse side. That just helps to easier identify and find them when we are over at the scroll saw. But now that they are all drilled out, we can begin scrolling. And I will be using number 5 Ultra reverse tooth blades for all of the scrolling on this project, and it will cut through this 3/4 inch material exceptionally well with minimal chip out, which is always good when it comes time for sanding. And again, with this being a modified Steve Good design, if you guys would like to try to cut out the full sign, the full pattern is available on Steve Good's scrollsawworkshop.blogspot.com website over in his free catalog. I just figured this was an appropriate project to kick off using the amazing new 22-inch Rikon Scroll Saw out in the workshop. And as you can see in this video, I am not reaching back to disengage that pin every time. I have done my own little modification to it. And if you guys are curious about that modification, please let me know down in the comments. But this is a rock solid tool, and it has very minimal vibration. The camera is sitting right beside the scroll saw on the tripod, and you can see it's not shaking it around or anything, and it is indeed a rock solid tool. But it took me around 30 to 35 minutes to scroll this project out from start to finish. It's not a very complex design. but I figured again it symbolized what I am primarily known for, and that is scroll saw woodworking. Doing the final internal cut here, and after we remove this piece, the waste wood, once it's cut out, you'll see me come back here and do some veining to add some nice lines of detail, and then we can retension the blade and do the final outside release cut, and then all of the scroll work on this project will be done. If you guys like what you're seeing, I would highly encourage you to subscribe to my channel and also follow me across all my social medias under the Artisan Pirate name. I'd really appreciate the support. And a project like this offers several different finishing styles. Of course, I'm just going to go with my standard rustic finishing procedure in this video, but of course you could add this to a backer board or an even larger board if you were going to make it as a full workshop sign. But a lot of possibility and versatility when it comes to designs for scroll saw woodworking. But now that all of the scroll saw work is done, we can come over to the workbench, and I'll be careful removing the piece from the waste wood because I didn't want to break anything. And then we can take it over to sanding, and I will use 180 grit Klingspor Woodworking Shop sandpaper in the vibrating palm sander, and I'll use small circular motions on both the front and back of the piece to sand it smoothly. And we will give it a splash of color with a very light Minwax wood stain. This will still allow the natural grain and texture of the material we cut out to shine through. But once everything is saturated, I'll wipe off all of the excess with a scrap piece of t-shirt material and hang it on a hook to dry for around an hour. And when it was dry, I took it outside into the bright sunshine and gave it a finish with several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss. And when that dried, the project was complete. And here we have the completed Artisan Pirate Scroll Saw Man display piece, cut out completely from start to finish, appropriately over on a scroll saw. And it finished up amazingly well, and it is nice and crisp here. I want to once again thank Steve Good for designing the original file that I modified in the Lightburn laser software. And I once again hope Steve Good is cool with me doing the modification and coming up with this design. But when I was sitting at the Lightburn software on the computer and I came up with this design and was happy with it, and I exported it as an image and printed it out, I felt it was the appropriate project to kick off using the new Rikon Scroll Saw out in the workshop, because it really showcases what I am known for, and of course that is scroll saw woodworking. It took me around 30 minutes to scroll this project out from start to finish. It's not a very complicated design, it's just because I am using a new scroll saw, that Rikon Scroll Saw, it's going to take me time to get familiar with it and well acquainted with it and get the speed I had with the other scroll saw, if that makes any sense. But as always, I took my time and let the blade do the work, and everything came out nice and crisp. You can easily and legibly read my name at the top there, Artisan Pirate. In the center you have the scroll saw on the stand, and then of course you have the man sitting on the chair enjoying the scroll saw woodworking hobby. But a great piece to showcase scroll saw woodworking. I went about finishing it in my standard rustic finishing way. I gave it a very light Minwax wood stain that still allow the natural grain and textures of the wood we scrolled to shine through, and then we took it out in the bright sunshine and gave it several coats of Rust-Oleum clear gloss for a finish, and it does have that nice glossy texture in it. And while the clear gloss was drying, I went over to the laser, loaded the design up again, and made a nice magnet point I can stick on the cabinet out here in the workshop. So once again, showing off a scroll saw design's multiple uses and versatility when it comes to the patterns. I know we have spoken about the versatility of scroll saw patterns in the past, but still a great project to kick off using that new Rikon Scroll Saw out in the workshop. But I had a lot of fun in today's video, and I hope you guys like watching me make this project. If you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll subscribe to it and follow me across all my social medias under the Artisan Pirate name. As always, links to contact me as well as all my social medias will always be linked down in the description box below these videos. That's about all for this one, and remember guys, if I can make it or do it, so can you. I'm the Artisan Pirate. Take care, and I'll see you guys real soon.